the Rangers Journal Night.
Good afternoon and welcome to your latest Rangers Journal episode. This time we are going to be looking at left-sided centre backs. With me today I've got Scotty. I think this is probably something we're calling out for, isn't it, Scotty?
Aye, it's not half, Dave. It's not half, mate. Excited to get tore into right enough. Left centre backs is something that's been badly needed, especially on the evidence so far this season with the balance in defence.
That's it, mate. And I think if we can actually get a proper left-sided centre back in, then it just gives us that wee bit of balance that we've been sorely missing, amongst other things. But certainly for the purposes of this, the balance will help. So let's get straight into them then. And we'll start with Terry Yegebe, or Yegbe, not entirely sure. He's Ghanaian, and he's currently plying his trade in the Swedish Premier. He's contracted until the winter window to 31st of December 2028.
Yep.
Currently valued at $2.5 million. We can see from his radar here, he's reasonably kind of, I would almost class it as a siege defender, maybe a bit along the lines of John Suter. What do you make of this guy, Scotty?
Well, for what I've seen of him, I had a quick look at him before we come on, and he's pacey, he's got good recovery, he can read the game really, really well. He scored for a throw-in. It's the first thing that came up on YouTube. He took a throw-in, and the opposition keeper went to catch it and dropped it into his net. So that in itself is impressive. You need to look at these guys' ages as well, David. 24-year-old, 6'5". You know, we're recording this on a day with Drew with St Mirren, who's probably the most physical team in the league. And I think we're severely lacking that kind of physicality and balance at the back. So I like this boy.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that, mate. Absolutely. So just looking at his key stats then. So this is obviously from last season. Played 18 games. Good record in his defensive duels at 65%, 60 in his aerial. So again, that kind of helps with what you're saying about the physicality, getting into those duels. 10.7 recoveries, 5.1 interceptions, 3.7 clearances. These are obviously all per 90. I hesitate to say it after seeing our group chat talking about Russell Martin, but looking at that pass accuracy as well, you've got to think that would probably appeal to him, someone that's reasonably good at playing a ball. Scotty, do you want to sort of talk through the boys' strengths?
Well, when you're talking about pass accuracy, Dave, that will jump up from 83% to about 96% with the type of football we're playing just now. Horseshoe and Gio is all I'm thinking about today. And other previous managers. That's a bit of an unfair criticism on Gio. But he is physically strong, he's athletic, he's got good recovery pace. For what I've seen of him on YouTube anyway, obviously, I can kind of watch as the highlight reels, the real brains of the Operation Squad day when it comes to these guys. He recommends them and we just get to know the players.
So
he is good at progressing the ball with forward passes. He's versatile as well, it says here, so I'm wondering if he can maybe slot in at left back as well as left centre back at some point. But see, to be honest with you, I would sign him for him long throw-ins alone. I think it's a tool that we've not got currently, and I'm sick of seeing folk. Even Max Aaron's a day, and I don't want to speak about the game too much, but even Max Aaron's a day, Dave. Like, you're seeing him walk up like Tav. I think Tav's taught Max Aaron's how to take a throw-in now. It's just so slow progressive. So see if we've got somebody else that can give us another kind of tool or an asset to use. The boy is a good player.
That's the way to say there's no point talking about his long throw because he's not a fullback, so he's not going to get to take throws, is he? But point taken. And do you know what? We see a lot of teams actually hit us with that long throw. And I think it'll happen even more with our kind of fragility at set pieces. So having someone where we can kind of turn that round and actually use it against other teams absolutely would be an asset.
Yeah.
Just like you were saying, obviously, Gordy kind of gives us a summary of these, and we'll just have a look at these videos as we're going. So How's that for a free ball? Probably never be allowed to play it in a Martin system, but as free balls go, that was a bloody good pass. So Gordy's called out here to play in a Martin system. The two centre backs need to be able to play from the back. Terry Yegby can certainly do that. He's composed on the ball, forward thinking, and I think we just saw that in the clip there. He's also capable of playing as a 2 or in a 3 in defence. And just again, I know you've said we don't want to go too much into today's game, but we did see that formation change at half time. If that's something that he's going to look to do kind of moving forward, then having someone that can play in either would absolutely be an asset. I suspect this might be the same clip that you watched, but we'll let folks see it. So here we go. Winding up for the long throw. Quite disappointed he didn't do like a front flip like that Iranian boy, but in fairness, that was a quality ball into the box and, on a plate for the attacker just to finish it. Is that anything along the lines of what you saw with long throw that actually went in, or was that
well, that's actually a better throw in than the one I seen. It reminds me of Rory Delap, member at Stoke under Tony Pulis years and years ago. He's he's got good arms, he's got good length on his throw-ins. Now, we're here to speak about centre-backs, we're not here to speak about long throws, but the boy does have different attributes to his game, which would be... No, I don't want to be too get too optimistic and sound like a pure happy clapper when it comes to this kid, but he's potentially one of your best centre-backs when you bring him in, because, let's be honest, the bar's not that high right now, is it?
No, it's really not. And do you know what, Scotty? I was thinking about that earlier. I think there's absolutely a question to be had because, for my mind, if we sign any of these boys as a left centre back, they should actually be coming in and starting. And I think the question then is who actually takes that right centre back berth. I would absolutely be looking for these boys to come straight into the team because I don't think either of the current options that we generally start with have really solidified that left side. There we are. Let's just have a look what else he can give us then. So tackling and covering ground is also a strength that Gordy's called out. Obviously 6'5", which, as you rightly said, against the likes of St Mirren domestically is absolutely going to be a help. It's a physical unit, can shift. Space is one of his biggest strengths. So if we're playing this ridiculously high line that we see under Martin, then again, potentially that's another attribute that would help, the ability to get back in there. Looking at this bottom left clip, so we're going to see Yegby's teammate lose the ball just outside the box, but he will recover it. So let's have a look here. Oof, that's awful as well. That's a quality block, to be fair. I think if you look at that kind of highlighted position where it pauses for a second, you can see actually the attacker, I would say, is the favourite for that ball. On the second clip, so we see his pace after a ball comes down the line. He beats the attacker to the loose ball, wiping him out with a good tackle in the process. So let's have a look here. Oh, beautiful.
Solid.
And look at that afterwards as well. It's like he's roaring at him. Just a bit of bloody passion, which, again, with this current team would not go amiss. So it's not his only strength. We've got passing and aerial ability as well, which was called out. And we can see here his accurate passes and his long pass range. So I think you can summarise that, reasonable accuracy. Not afraid to try things. Sometimes they don't come off, but that's okay. As long as sometimes they do. And we're saying here he's aggressive, competing in the aerial duels, winning almost 64% of them. He'll challenge for anything he can get to, which I don't know if you've seen the post-match comments about second balls today from Rothwell. You absolutely want someone that will challenge for anything and everything that you can get near to. So, again, another key attribute for us, I would suggest. He's a good leap as well and a good hit on him. So, Yeah, I think all things told, he seems like a pretty solid candidate for me. Next up on the list is Karol Pojesny. Now, this one is actually from the Czech Republic, and he plays in the Czech Premier League. He's under contract until 2029, so might not be the easiest to negotiate, but he is only valued at $1 million. So, potentially there is some room to play there. 6'1" and 23 years of age. So again, like you kind of picked up with the last one, I think someone that should, in theory, be heading towards his prime years, maybe a few years developing left and then into his prime. Looking at the radar here, so it's probably quite good to see that a lot of these disciplinary ones are so low. Obviously, on these radars, most of the time you're looking for them to be maxed out, but likes of these reds, yellows, and fouls, you don't. You want them the other way. I think, again, we're seeing quite a well-rounded player overhaul here, I would suggest. And his heat map does, to me, suggest that he could potentially fill in at left-back again, like you mentioned with Yegbe. So just looking at his key stats, he played 35 games last season, 2 goals, 2 assists. Again, quite a good duel rate, 68 defensive, 66 aerial. Recoveries slightly higher than Yegbe at 10.7 per 90. Interceptions and clearances a wee bit lower. So maybe more of a ball player than that kind of siege defender that we called out. I guess the only thing, if you're looking at this with a Martin lens on the recruitment, is his passing accuracy could be a wee bit better. As you say, I'm sure by the time he's got here and played 1 million passes to suit or Giga, that those numbers would go up, but might be something that gives Martin a bit of pause for thought there. So, do you want to take us through his strengths?
So he's looking back at the radar there. See, when I was looking at the aerial duels and stuff, and the aerial duels one. That reminds me of Niko Katic right away. But then you look at his progressive passes, and that doesn't remind you of Niko Katic. So he's a bit of a mix to me between Goldson and Katic, I would say. Now, some might deem that high praise. I don't, because I don't think the two of them are good enough to ever be Rangers centre-backs, but that's for another pod. He's got progressive runs. He's left-footed. He brings a balance to the defence. He's got good athleticism. He's got brilliant pace. His ground and aerial duels is spot on. Is absolutely spot on for what I've seen of him. He's obviously got progressive passes and runs there as well, which I just touched upon for the radar. He's good positionally. The only thing that would concern me about this is the language barrier. Now, we know Giga he's been in the UK since January, so he'll have a grasp of the language. Fernandez's English suitors fine. But is that really what we need in a Russell Martin team just now? I need to ask a question, because we've already got a style of play that isn't working evidently so far. The patterns of play aren't clicking. The team doesn't seem to be communicating or fighting for each other. So do you really want to stick in somebody that might not be able to speak a word of English into it? That would be that would be one of the cons for me. The boy could speak perfect English for all I know. I don't know. I'm just kind of surmising that he can't. But on paper and on video, it does look like a good centre-back, Dave.
Yeah, and do you know what? I don't think there's anything wrong with calling that out, Scotty. I think potentially one of the issues is that there's a hell of a lot of difference between how these guys have played before and how Martin wants them to play.
Yeah.
Now, he seems to be struggling to get his message across at the best of times at the minute. As you say, if you then throw in someone that can't even speak English, only makes it harder. And for us, we kind of see centre-backs as, the last line of defence. But I think in a Martin team, they're also quite integral to actually starting that attack by drawing the players in, breaking the press. Yeah. So, if he can't communicate with his teammates around him, yep, definitely a potential issue. let's have a look at the good parts of his game that Gordy's pulled out for. So, reading of the game, which for me is an absolute key with defenders. Like, everyone talks about him, right? But you look at Davy Weir, body pretty much gone, legs gone, couldn't really do a lot, but still a cracking defender at the age of 40 because he had a football brain and he could read the game. So, a good part of Pajezny's game is his reading of it, along with positionally and getting back to danger before it happens. He defends space very well and uses space and physical attributes to win the ball or to make a tackle. How many times have we seen a ball played between fullback and centre back and neither deal with? Too soon, Gordon. Too soon. Well, with Pajezny, that's not the case. So in the left clip, we're going to see a ball played in behind the fullback. He reads it well, gets across, takes the ball away, and prevents the danger. So let's have a look at this and maybe think what could have happened today. Oof. Nice. Very, very alert to that kind of diagonal run to the byline. In the right clip, we'll see Chesney have a glance behind him, spots the danger early, and you can see him make a quick burst to defend the space and set the ball across goal. So again, let's have a look at this. I think that's class.
Just good reading of the game, isn't
it? Yeah, so that's him here. And you can see he's keenly aware where that boy is coming into the back post, isn't he? So he's got in, he's cleared that. To be fair, the keeper's pretty rooted to his line, which, again, from a Rangers perspective, isn't unusual for us. So having someone with the awareness to cut out those balls could be vital. Let's
100%.
So let's have a look at defending space then. So his base allows him to defend high. When the ball comes over the top, he's there to defend it. His 1v1 defending is good as well, winning 68%. So again, we're going to see a ball in behind the fullback, one midfielder running off his man, and Pajezny will intercept that. And there's the ball. Nice. Very, very alert to the danger, I would suggest. And then we're going to see him match a winger for pace here, which, clearly does. Stands up well. Only thing I would say is he'd probably be given a foul away in Scotland, but, that's just the way it is. So I think there's a lot to like there, and I think his pace, as I mentioned at the start, in a Russell Martin team where you're going to be playing off the halfway line, basically, as a defender, having that pace could be a vital attribute, is there? And in there, you liked about him, Scotty?
His recovery pace and his reading of the game. I think that's there for all to see. But I think what we need to remember is that how handy is this going to be in the SPFL? Has he got good concentration? You've seen it against St Mirren today. They didn't really come in presses at any point. They're quite happy to sit in a low block when. Speaking of the goal that we conceded today, actually, I think does that goal get conceded if he's playing in a Rangers jersey today? What I noticed about Fernandez is he fell asleep for the goal and mapping and left Suter.
Seemed really lackadaisical trying to get back, didn't
he? Yeah. He left. Fernandez gave Suter a dummy, as far as I'm concerned. I don't blame Suter for the first goal at all. He could have done better, but I think this boy would potentially help to fill that gap. But it's all about concentration to be a Rangers centre back. So I would hope that he's got
that. Yeah, absolutely. And just talking about his other attributes, his passing's another one that's Gordy's pulled out. Very good on the ball. Isn't one for taking risks at the back. So I guess that's maybe where you diverge slightly from the Martin philosophy or whatever the hell you want to call it. Obviously, a lot of his game is about taking risks at the back, drawing in the attackers to the press so that you can then play through that. Looking at his pass maps, again, I think there's a lot here to like. I think there's probably less failures showing overall, which probably links in with what he's saying. He doesn't always take that risk. But very obvious that, he's quite happy building play up that left-hand side. And then we'll see him playing in a back three, outlining the opposition half, and see his Ranger passing. So let's roll this clip.
You see the
beautifully weighted.
See the all passes graph there. That's probably a better graph than Joe Rothwell's got this season.
That wouldn't be hard, mate.
No, genuinely, like Joe Rothwell's an accomplished tidy midfielder, and that centre half has got a better range of passing than Joe Rothwell.
I think the problem is Rothwell hasn't really shown too much of that yet. But that, again, different pod. We'll not get into the failings of the current crop. Last up on the kind of main list that you gave us, we have got a couple after this, but this is the ones that we've got as detailed information for, is Martin Dardai. Now, I have to admit, this was the first name I'd recognised on the list. I signed the boy on Football Manager, so that gives you an idea of some of the depths Gordy goes to find these guys. But Martin Dardai, 23, contracted until end of June 2028. He's 6'2", rated at 2 million. He's Hungarian, and he's currently playing, or was playing, in Bundesliga 2 for Hertha. He's kind of the opposite of what I said about the last guy. So obviously I was calling out, reds, yellows, fouls. You want these to be as low as possible. These are just about maxed. So instantly you start to wonder, right, how's he going to fit into a Rangers team that half the refs love to card anyway? Yeah, it could be a bit of a red card risk, I would suggest. I think his key things, and again, this might well appeal to Russell Martin, is passing is really up there. Quite keen to play long passes, progressive passes. Very much keen to kind of try and put the play forward. Also, no shy of a wee run forward, so that might work. Again, you just need to be careful with that, because obviously Suter's quite prone to kind of driving out of defence.
Yeah.
You get shown that he can be, and it's just getting that balance. So, one goes and they've got cover, etc. But overall, he's a decent enough player. He's cheers, Gordy. No matches. Okay, we'll go with that. So let me just have a look in the background, and I will find out how many matches he's played. In the meantime, defensive duels 68%, aerial duels 63%. So I think he's a wee bit lower in defensive duels. Aerial duels, no bad. Recoveries 8.3 per 90, interceptions 4.4, and clearances 2.3. And again, that passing range, you just wonder if the accuracy's there for Martin. Not that you'd guess from his current setup that he likes players with accurate passes, but he does. Take us through his strengths, Scotty.
So as you can see, he's a big lump of a boy to begin with. Physicality. I don't mind the fact he's had so many cards and reds and yellows and all the rest of it, because it's needed in the team. We need a physical presence. We've not had a good commanding physical centre back probably since Katic, or if I'm going way back, I'm talking Marvin Andrews, like, to have a properly good physical centre back.
You realise, Scotty, half our viewers have probably never seen Marvin Andrews play nowadays, mate.
Well, they want to go and look him up because he was outstanding. He was a good player.
Oh, aye.
He's got good athleticism. He's got good pace. He's got good recovery drills as well as you can see there. He's got 8.3 per 90. Again, how often are they going to be in use in the SPFL? Depends. Can he? Is he good at playing out? One thing we do need, Dave, is a smart centre back that can start attacks, because we've not got that currently. Is he smart enough to be able to know how Russell Martin wants it to? Like if a centre back plays a certain type of pass, the team should be now clicking on to, right, we're going to be doing this and we're going to be doing that. The ball's going to travel down this channel because he started the move by, bringing in Lyle Cameron or whoever. So is he smart enough to do that? It's left to be. He's got good positional sense, so it does tell you that he's got a good reading of the game as well. That he's got a brain in his head. Bundesliga 2, it's a good level. I wouldn't say that it's better or worse than the current league that we're in. It does look like a good option, to be honest with you, mate.
He does. And just in case anyone was interested, he played 33 games last season. So you have to imagine, given it's Bundesliga 2, that is going to be the vast majority of games. It's not going to be a European run, probably not going to be a massive cup run. So you have to imagine that is the vast majority of games that he would have been eligible for he's actually played. Just moving on then. So again, reading of the games called out, which, as I keep saying, that for me is one of the most vital attributes for a centre back. Good at identifying the danger and stepping in to intercept, step up to play the offside. So it does suggest he's got a bit of a footballing brain about him. Whether that translates into that kind of deep line playmaker role that you're talking about, I don't know, but certainly for his primary job of defending, sounds like he's got a bit of a brain on him. In the bottom clip, so bottom left, we're going to see him step up to play the striker offside. Let's play that through for you. Okay, and in the next clip, we're going to see him use his pace physicality, and he's going to keep up basically with the attacker and just match him. So, yeah. Then just enough to kind of stop that run into the box, which, by all accounts, if he wasn't as quick as that, I think that attacker's through on goal at that point.
See the important part. The important part of that second clip, Dave. It puts it out of play, clears the danger.
Aye. Nay, namby-pamby, just get rid. Yeah, I'd agree with that, mate. Looking at his passing, so short, progressives, diagonals, balls over the top. He's for it all. So in the first clip, we'll see him win the ball from a duel, come away, spot the striker's run, and then play a weighted ball, which I guess, again, comes back to that kind of intelligence that you're talking about, Scotty. Being able to see where the team is, what they're doing. Ultimately, the attacker doesn't score, but it's still a decent ball through, I would suggest. And then in the second, and this for me, I think, is the kind of thing that Martin will like. It's a few short passes, fakes the attacker that he's gone back to the keeper, and then switches play with a long diagonal. So that's that ability almost to break the kind of press that you're getting. Yeah, so he suckers the boy in and then just spots the space, goes for it. Which, again, is very much a hallmark of Russell Martin teams, which, like it or not, that is our manager at the minute. Looking at his passes and his recovery pace then, so again, you've got quite a filled out pass map, I would suggest. Clearly not afraid of making passes. I think this middle one at the top here with the thickness between kind of the centre backs, again, whether we like it or not, is very much how you can expect Rangers to look for as long as Russell Martin is in charge. Not afraid of a long pass either. And again, we see here some of them don't come off. As I said before, that's okay, as long as some of them are coming off. In the clip, we're going to see his team getting broke on, and then he's going to use his pace to work back into it. So I think there's the break, there's him, and vital interception. Boy was onside, so if he hadn't got to that, it's as close to guaranteed goal as you're going to get, isn't it? Really? Next up, Jerome Opoku. So, Opoku is Ghanaian, and he's currently playing in the Turkish Superliga. This one's maybe a wee bit more adventurous. He's rated at 5 million. He's 6'6", so I think Mitch will be happy with that. He's no a midget. A wee bit older than the rest so far at 26, still coming into his prime, so I don't see that kind of being a huge issue. I think what strikes me here is, again, he looks like a very good passer of the ball, and obviously quite high as well for the goals scored there, which is nice. In amongst his passing range, he's also got the duels. So he's maybe not as high on actual duels participated in, but when he does engage, he tends to win them, which, is obviously key. Just looking at him, so we don't have the videos on him, same as we did for the other ones, but looking at his key stats, played 33, 3 goals and assist. Something I think in recent seasons been sorely missing from us is kind of a centre back that can come up for corners and score goals, etc. So good that you can chip in. Defensive duels, so 72 and a 64% win rates, 8.96 recoveries, 3.2 interceptions, and 1.9 clearances per 90. So these are slightly lower than the other guys on this list, but they're not shocking stats. When we move on to his accuracy, though, we start to see a much, much better picture, suggesting that, yes, obviously, you want your defenders to defend first and foremost. That's the key thing. But in this side, they also need to be able to build play. And I think this guy probably can. Do you want to have a look at his strengths, Scotty?
Aye, so 6'6", physicality, and speaks for itself. He is very good at carrying the ball out of defence. How much use that's going to be in this system again is questionable. The language barrier could be a thing. He is athletic. He does have good pace and good recovery pace for being such a big guy. The best way I would describe this player's physicality is gangly or lanky. One of the two.
Right.
One of the two. He's not the most muscly. He's not the most physically overpowering the players, but he does have strength through his height. He's very good with the ball on the ground, at winning ground duels and aerial duels, as you can see for the stats here. Very good with progressive passes, which I would assume we're coming on to as well. And as you say, Dave, a threat in the box for set pieces, mate.
Yeah, so unfortunately, the information on Opoku is quite limited for this one, Scotty. So this is it. I think with this guy, for me, as I said before, the defending is obviously the key thing you want. But given that we know Martin expects that wee bit more from his defenders, that ability to break the press, then I think, his passing range could come into play there. Last on the list for left centre backs was a Scotty request for this guy to be added. So let's talk about Chris Metham. So he's 27. Again, probably I think he's the oldest on this list. 6'2", so he's not a midget. He's Welsh. I do have scar tissue with the last couple of Welsh players at Rangers, but we'll forget about that for now. He is rated at 6 million, and he is currently with Bournemouth. So whether he's a realistic signing, debatable. Potentially more a loan than a signing, I would imagine, because time you go to an EPL club for an English player, you're obviously paying that EPL premium, basically. Looking at his key stats, so he played 38 matches last season, started 37. His average rating was 7.12, passing accuracy at 87%, long balls 40, tackles won 60%, ground duels won 55%, aerial duels 63%, so he can absolutely hold his own. Interceptions 1 per 90, which feels quite low. 6.1 clearances, 3.8 recovery, but obviously you do need to account for the fact that all these players are playing in different leagues. So, Scotty, we've got strengths to go through, and do you want to just tell us why you wanted Chris Metham included on this list, mate?
So, one of the guys in the chat, Ben's been on about Chris Metham for the get-go this summer. Talk about a fanboy, Jesus. He is a big player, big commanding centre-half. He's got decent recovery pace. He's very strong in the tackle. He's experienced. Now, when I say experienced, I think we're all sick of championship players, championship level players coming into this Rangers team, right? But see if you relate back to signings like Connor Goldson, where most of his experience was in the championship. I think it's that kind of a level of signing. He's 27. He's at a good age. He's at Bournemouth. He's not kicking a ball just now. As I said, his experience is good in the air. He's left-footed, so he brings a balance. Even though his heat map would suggest he's played on the right, he is left-footed. To me, I think we need somebody of this calibre when it comes to leadership and experience, Dave, and that's why I wanted them included, because we need familiarity at the back, good experience at the back, and we don't have it. And this boy has not only played at a good level, but I think he captained Sheffield United at one point. Now, comparing Sheffield United to Rangers is like, it's not really much a comparison in terms of size of club and expectations and stuff like that. But in terms of having somebody that's played at the top end of the championship, that knows, apart like Joe Rothwell, that has the wherewithal to win your games and knows how to do it, bring that experience. Now, I know I probably just contradicted myself in mentioning Joe Rothwell there, Dave, but it could still come good. We are only 3 games into the season, so this is one I would be more than happy with.
That's it, mate. And I think, as fans, we get terribly emotive and, let's throw out the baby with the bathwater, etc. There is still time for all these players that have been signed to come good. So I think experience for me is absolutely one thing that we're missing. And if Metham's the guy that can deliver that, grand. If not, then, we need to get looking for it because, as you say, we're definitely missing it at the minute. Not too much else to say on Metham. If we look at his radar, touches 68%. Don't worry, mate. You'll get that up in a Rangers side. We'll have you at 100. Defensive actions, won the top 4 in his loan at Sunderland. Aerial duels won again, right up there, and even chances created look pretty good if we're being honest. So, I think there's definitely something about this guy, and as I said, if he can add that much needed experience, so much the better.
Yep.
Now, I don't know if you normally do this or not, Scotty, but it's one that I did with Ryan when I did the video with him the other day. Just looking at that list, if you had to pick one out of it, who would it be?
Oh, Chris Metham for the experience part of it. But if I have to pick one of the original guys that we spoke about, it'd probably be Yegbe. Yegbe for me is the outstanding one of it all in terms of value, age, his recoveries, his reading of the game, he's good in the tackle, he's strong in the air, he's big, he's physical. I think Yegbe probably meets the criteria, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I'd probably go for Pojezny. Notwithstanding the language barrier, I think he's got a lot of what you've just described, but he's also got that kind of passing range about him that is maybe slightly superior to Yegbe for me. So, apples and oranges. Let's be honest. You could pick any of these, and let's face it, they're probably going to be an improvement on what we're seeing at the minute. Okay.
Definitely.
Thanks very much for tuning in, everyone. That's the left centre-back options that we've identified. If Rangers do end up buying one of them, I'm sure Scotty will send the bill in for Gordy's commission. But other than that, hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please do like and subscribe to the videos. And for now, every night's a Rangers Journal night.